Terry, Terry, Terry. Terry, Terry.
You make it sound so naughty when you say it that way.
Ooh. Tell me more.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 483 of the Dead Robot Society. Terry Mixon here. Joining me, Paul E. Cooley. How you doing, man?
What's up?
Is this a Bud Light commercial?
No, God, no. I don't believe in Bud. I don't believe in God, and I don't believe in Bud Light either. So, we got problems with this.
Well, which one do you believe in less?
I believe less in God than I do in Bud Light because I've actually had Bud Light. I've consumed Bud Light.
Okay.
It shouldn't exist. Okay. It's not that it doesn't exist. It just shouldn't exist. I feel fabulous.
You look fabulous.
Don't I look fabulous? With my hair and my well-groomed beard and my sexy brown eyes. Doing all right. Shuffling and juggling a lot of crazy shit right now since day job went, full critical red alert mode last week. So getting that under control, getting recording under control again, getting editing destruction under control because it's taking too goddamn long to get done and I really have to knock it out of the park. And I've not been writing the last 3 days because I've been dealing with all that crap. So
every time I hear you talking about your day job, I have visions of Kato and the Pink Panther. You're going about doing whatever you're doing, and suddenly Kato jumps out of the closet and attacks you.
That's pretty close to it. It's like it's like I wake up in the morning and I look at my phone. All right, damage report. Here's this shit I got to do today, or I gotta clear up this misunderstanding, create this misunderstanding by trying to unlock this other one, and figure all this other stuff out. And everything I do now, I'm hitting landmines that have been left for me by others. So it's
why do I see you outraging some of the people that you work with so much that they write this little sub program in their thing so that as soon as you tell it to execute their code, it just blanks your monitor and you go, what the fuck just happened?
It's nothing that bad. Nothing that bad. Actually, the technical folks I'm dealing with are not the problem.
Uh-oh.
There's just a lot of issues because this has been passed. The technical folks we have now are not the problem. It's what was left behind and what we're dealing with. So it's just a mess. But yeah. So I've still got probably 80,000 words to edit on Destruction. And I think I'm a quarter way done of recording Garrus Inferno.
How long does it take you to edit a book? How long does that take you?
Depends on how absolutely crazy I'm going to be about going back and cleaning up my writing. I'm getting more. I think I'm spending a little bit more time than I probably should be on rearranging some words here and there. But while I was recording Garrus Inferno, I think I put this on the Paul Diary post. I encountered some sentences that just pissed me off as I was reading them. It just made me angry because they could be better.
I can see you looking at what kind of asshole wrote this shit.
No, I was sitting there going, why did you do? I mean, it's just one of these deals where it's kind of like I started realizing that, there's sparse and then there's ridiculous. And in some places I veered into the ridiculous where it's just like 4 short sentences together, no tie-ins, nothing. And then the descriptions were whack. And I know what I was trying to do, but none of it worked. And so I'm spending a lot of time going back over that and finding those things and fixing them. And because I'm so conscious of them over while I'm recording Garrus Inferno, I've gotten conscious of that when looking at Destruction. So I'm spending a little bit more time and cleaning up some things. And there's some stuff where it's just kind of like, why did you describe it that way? That's just shit. So I go back and I rewrite it, and it makes me feel better about the work. And I'm much happier when I've done that. So I'm going to have to. Destruction is a big book. It's going to take some time to get through it. I don't really have access to my alpha reader right now. for health reasons. And so I'm just gonna have to, dig in as I can, as fast as I can, to try and get it done, because I need to get the damn thing out there. And I'm already started work on Trident. I mean, at this point, we may have, by the time Derelict Destruction keeps going, if it keeps lagging like this, we're gonna put this damn thing out in April or May, and then Trident will come around in June or July, which would not be bad. But that means all the people who have been waiting for Destruction have been waiting for fucking 6 months, a year. Ugh, that's bad. It's really bad. I'm a bad man. Then I got all these other chuckleheads that want me to write another black book. What's wrong with you
Still have
people?
to tie it all together, man. You got to finish this damn thing.
I know, but you keep telling me it needs to be this open-ended thing that goes on forever.
Well, you still got people on the planet Earth to kill off, buddy.
God. Oh. Yes, but I must do it with style and aplomb or something.
You just have to have the black mutate into something else.
That
sounds ominous.
Screw you, Terry. You son of a bitch. So, and the other thing was, I had an epiphany the other night that I was trying to figure out how to put signal decay in the Soul and Beyond universe, and I think I'm just going to take it out completely. I was going to put it back in, but I think I'm going to take it out again. And I have lots of reasons as to why I would do that. And most of that has to do with where I finally saw Soul and Beyond going. So I'm going to rip it out completely out of the Soul and Beyond universe and pretty much start over parts of it. So,
all right.
There's good reasons, but that also means that I can get another book contract for that one or publish it under shadowpublications.com, because I'll have no ties. So,
more money.
If I could just make money from anything I sell, I publish out on my own.
Hey, it works for Stephen King.
It must. So anyway, I've got like, several different things to do. I'm still dying to get back to quantum personality disorder, because the first 10,000 words of that book just flew. And I want to know more. I want to know what happened and what's happening. So I have to actually go write it. But I see more and more stuff about the Internet of Things and how people's thermostats are going crazy and shit like that. And it's just like, man, how bad is it going to be when we have like 70% of everything that we do on a day-to-day basis is assisted with automation?
It's going to be hacked by everybody 3 ways from Sunday.
But well, yeah, we'll get to that too in these books. But it just seems like, you've created a problem that is going to be continuously a problem no matter what you do. So it's one of those deals where it's like, yeah, I'm going to bring this up and it's very relevant to today, but at the same time, it's like, this is 400 years in the future. Shouldn't they have figured something out by now?
Oh, by now, cryptocurrencies are going to rule the world.
That's a whole nother mess I don't even want to get into with Soul and Beyond. Yeah, I don't even want to go there. So, apart from distractions, disruptions, everything else, I'm doing pretty good mental wise. But I gotta get back in the chair to get the writing done, because I'm really pissed that I'm missing out on it. So gotta get back, gotta get
back on the saddle and kick some ass. I'm getting back on the saddle tomorrow most likely, because the last week has just been me being sick and finally getting back to feeling more like human. The Terra Gambit is off in the hands of the beta readers. I expect to get stuff back this weekend from most of them. So my evil plan is Monday or Tuesday to start going through it. If everything is good with it, then I'll publish it sometime next week. So it's not so far off, unless they go, yeah, this gap in the middle, yeah, you kind of like lost everybody in the middle of this, and yeah, you need to do some more tweaking here. Because I stopped halfway through the book to write on Glenn's book. So yeah, I forgot things that happened. I expect to get notes about that.
I'm absolutely terrified of the continuity check on this one. I'm absolutely terrified. Absolutely freaking terrified. that there's going to be so many things that I basically contradicted myself on it because of how long it took me to write. So
I feel your pain on that. I'm going to be writing the 4th book in my Humanity Unlimited saga as soon as I finish reading book 3 to make sure that I even remember what they were doing. It's been a while since I was in that universe. And the fact that I don't have a story Bible currently is making my life a little challenging with that. Yes. I'm taking steps to make sure that that is corrected, but it's not there yet. It's getting close, but I at least am getting story plot points as I'm reading through it. I'm up to chapter 5. I think it's got 30 or 31 chapters in there. So I'm hoping to, now that I'm feeling better, I'm hoping to actually get that done over the next 2 or 3 days and actually start writing, because I'm actually eager to get back to the keyboard and start writing again. It's been too long. On the other front of writing, I've got an outline of the first book in the new trilogy that I'm going to be writing with Glenn Stewart. So I've got to go over that and we finalize that. And the way that Glenn has decided he'd prefer to go ahead and write this, which I am totally behind, is definitely unusual. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this works out. He's going to write the first 20,000 words. I'm going to write the 40,000 words in the middle of the book, and he's going to write the 20,000 words to close it out. So he's going to write the opening and the closing, which I actually think his openings and closing are a little stronger than mine. So I totally approve.
Okay.
So this got my total buy-in on that, but it leaves me 40,000 words in the middle to wander very far off course, so that he has to look at this and go, how the hell do I get this solved in 20,000 words?
So you can just like raise your hand and say, that's your problem.
Apparently so. No, we have an outline, even though we will probably wander on some of the detailed points from it. So he's written the outline. I know roughly where I need to go, so I can herd it in the general direction of the ending that he needs. That's not going to end up being a problem. It's going to be some of the details, some of the character details are probably going to change as I go along, because that always happens. And after 2 books, he should be aware of that.
Yes, he should. He should know you by now.
He should know me well enough for that by now. So I'm looking forward to that.
By now,
I'll start writing. I'll get the first 20,000 words of that on April 1st, if I remember correctly. So I've got enough time to go ahead and write Blood of Patriots and get it done. And then I'll have the new book.
Cool.
So that'll be fun.
And Blood of Patriots is book 4 on the Humanity Unlimited?
It is.
Okay. Just making sure.
Ever since I started with Liberty Station, I've had these like founding father themes of titles.
Right.
So using all those keywords from there. So I'm just going to keep on running with that.
That's cool.
Other than that, I think that's about it. I think that's where I'm sitting at. I really want to get back to writing and get myself back in the chair and get things being produced, because while I am not as prolific as our guest as far as books that they are scheduling for this year, I would like to actually have 8 books come out this year. That's ambitious.
That is very ambitious.
I've got to make some changes into the. And joining us today is Chris Kennedy. Chris, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me, guys. It's great to be here.
We appreciate the kind lies you just uttered on our behalf. In case anyone is not familiar with Chris Kennedy, the way that I became familiar with him is that I wrote a couple of short stories for anthologies in his 4 Horsemen universe, and that was a lot of fun. And then I found out that he wrote some invasion stuff in Seattle, and that interested me. I still haven't finished reading it, so I've started on that, started back reading in my big pile of things to do. But take a moment, if you would, Chris, and introduce yourself to our audience so they can know who you are.
All right. Well, I've heard it told that 81% of people have a story they want to tell. I was always part of the 19%. Never had a story, never wanted to be a writer. Happiest day of my life was when I finished my PhD, because I was never going to have to write anything ever again. Funny thing happened on the way home one day, and some things I had seen at work kind of gelled, and all of a sudden I had a story. And I went ahead and, got home, and I had talked myself out of writing it. And my wife said, "Hey, dinner's going to be a little late today because life." And I thought, hey, maybe I'll sit down and start writing that thing. So I did, and pulled out the laptop and sat at the kitchen table. And she said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I said, "I'm writing a story." And she said, "No, really, what are you doing?" Because it was that, out of the ordinary for me. It wasn't something I'd ever talked about. I wrote the story, published it. It did pretty well. Wrote another. It did well. Did a sci-fi. It did even better. And all of a sudden, the accidental author was born. Kind of did okay with that. Some folks saw that I was doing all right publishing, and they said, "Hey, would you do my book too? Hey, how about me?" And so now, totally unintentionally, I've got 15 books of my own. I've published 45 books total, and probably will publish about 30 to 35 this year.
Wow.
So yeah, it's the Grateful Dead talks about what a long, strange trip it's been. It's been very strange, but not quite as long. That's all happened in about 4.5 years. Went from former naval aviator, elementary school principal, to science fiction fantasy author and publisher. Got 5 imprints, so do some other things besides just sci-fi. Do some YA, some post-apocalyptic things, a little bit of fantasy, but kind of the main piece is sci-fi, and then the Four Horsemen universe right now.
So tell us a little bit about the Four Horsemen universe. I know quite a bit from having read the books, and then trying to figure out how to pervert the story guidelines.
Right, and just like anything else bad in the world, we blame J.R. Hanley for that, and connecting you to this thing, and because he was the one that I think introduced us. Hey, Terry, how'd you like to, so Four Horsemen universe is military sci-fi. It's mech warfare in a mercenary environment. Basically, the aliens come down a short time from now, say, "Hey, welcome to the Galactic Union. Oh, by the way, you've got nothing we need, so have a nice life." While they're here, ISIS blows up their delegation, and when they go in to wipe them out, they find out that, hey, these humans will fight. And they said, "Hey, there's only 36 races out of the tens of thousands of races in the galaxy that'll fight for money. How'd you like to be mercenaries?" We say, "Okay, sure." First group of 100 goes out. Only 4 come back. They all happen to have horses in their logo, and they become the Four Horsemen. Flash forward about 100 years, and that's where we are in the storyline. We take the folks through the 4 main companies, and then off we go to the races.
Awesome. I remember as I was writing the stories, it seemed like writing mercenaries was the least thing that I wanted to do. When I was writing every story, my brain always went somewhere else.
You actually did 3, and I think when we got to the 3rd one, you said, "Hey, now maybe I'll actually write something for war. It's a mercenary universe. Maybe I'll finally do something with mercs or military or shooting. I don't know."
Yeah,
and okay, sure, whatever.
And I still didn't have a mech in that. At least not that shot anything. So
that's okay. Some of the best ones, some of the best anthology stories didn't, which was kind of surprising to me, but maybe it shouldn't have been. But we had some really neat stories from all the way around the universe, and that was the way that we had initially described it. Was we said, "Hey, we want to flesh out the universe a bit, so feel free to write about whatever." And authors being authors, you guys took us up on it and wrote about a wide variety of things. And it was really, really cool.
I remember that J.R. Handley helped me by making the whole antimatter joke, and then I made that joke, and then you're like, do it, just do it.
Uh-oh, now you're going to get me in trouble with Mark, huh? I don't think
right.
he knew I did that. Oh, well.
He needs a new desk anyway that he can just...
I may have suggested that might be a fun thing to do, and that maybe my partner in the Four Horsemen universe might be a little consternated if you did. Worked out pretty well. It was an epic level troll for about I don't know, 3 or 4 months. We had him on the hooked on the line and just, you know, swearing up and down on social media, and you are not allowed to do that. It's like, oh yeah, we're writing about antimatter. No, you can't. Yes, we are. And he just kept. I think he finally got tired of being angry and just went, fine, do whatever.
Do whatever. I don't care anymore.
You know you're not supposed to, but I don't even care anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm done with this. Pretty much the way it went.
So what happened when he read the story?
He went, you did it. You wrote about antimatter. I said, well, you said we could. No, but I didn't mean it. You know I didn't mean it.
That's epic. I wish there was a video.
but my understanding about the story is it didn't have to do with using it successfully.
No, it had to do with why there wasn't antimatter in the universe.
Right.
Well, and the funny thing was, all of the things that he did to protest the story, Terry incorporated into the story.
And I had no idea what he was using to protest it either. This is just
he posted a meme where somebody flips a desk over.
I did.
So Terry said, oh well, it's this one professor, Dr. Wandry, was known to even have thrown a desk over in protest.
How can I not include that? I mean, really.
And everybody that was in on it, just saw it going on social media. I've had a ton of people that have said, reading that story is hilarious, knowing what all went into it, and was going on around it. And they were just dying laughing.
Terry,
did he react to me having I started the story off, the very first word was antimatter. The very last word was anti-gravity.
The two things that he said you are not allowed to write about in a story.
Exactly so.
You can't have anti-gravity either, huh?
No.
But we did. Terry put them both in, and it was hilarious.
I put the word in. I never actually had anything to do with the technology, because that is actually in the story Bible as forbidden technology.
Mm-hmm.
But antimatter wasn't, which was the whole reason I brought it up in the first place.
Oh no! Oh, okay. All right.
And all along, I've said, "Come on, Mark. There's got to be antimatter. We can make antimatter now." No, we're not doing it.
So is there a reason why he has this hatred of antimatter?
Yes, there is.
Is there a real? Okay, there is a real reason.
There is, and it'll be out eventually.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I'm not going to ask any questions.
So, how did you get together with Mark to create the Four Horsemen?
It's funny. Of course, it all happened in a bar. It was at a con.
Yeah, so you were sitting at a con at a bar. This is how most really bad ideas turn into good books.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. He approached me at a con. I guess it was 2.5 years ago. Said, "Hey, I see you're doing well. I'd really like to work with you. I've got this great idea." And I was pretty deep into my own universe then, and I needed to finish 2 more books. And I said, "Hey, dude, I'd like to, but I really don't have time." So I finished up, the stuff I was working on, got kind of caught up with everything, and I happened to see him again at the same con the next year. And I said, "Hey, last year you wanted to talk with me about this one project. I've now cleared my schedule, and I could I'm available to do something. And he said, oh, well, I kind of already started on it. And I said, oh, okay, well, no worries. And he's like, no, I want to work together. Let's go talk. So, we went to the bar and sat down, and his wife was there. And, he kind of introduced me to what he was thinking. And I said, well, hey, what about this? And okay, what about that? And, and before too long, the waitress was coming over to say, hey, could you guys hold it down just a little, like a lot, because we're like, oh, that'd be great. And then we do it, and it got pretty animated. And, we were, I think, deep into like the 16th or 18th book by that point. We'll do this, and then we'll do that, and then we'll have a series of this, and then, I think somewhere along the line we said, yeah, and maybe we'll do an anthology. So of course in the first year we've done 3. Funny how that works. It was one of those things we asked a bunch of author friends that we knew. Hey, how'd you like to write a short story in this universe? We're putting together an anthology, and the word got around that we were doing it, and all of a sudden I had 20 people, and I only wanted 12. And I said, okay, so we'll do a second one. And by the time we had just about put together the second one, I now had 36 people that wanted to do it, and it's like, okay, I guess we'll do a third one. And we still have a few people that are kind of like, I really would have liked to have been in it. Yeah, I know. So there'll be another one this year, not 3, because dear God, they just beat me up. But we're definitely going to do another one this year, probably one per year, as we go forward, because it's cool, and it brings in a lot of neat ideas. We have, let's see, Peacemaker, which is now a trilogy of novels. Started out in the first anthology as a short story. We've got Assassin coming out by Casey Ezell and Marisa Wolf. That started out as a short story. Now it's going to be 3 novels. Midnight Sun by Tim C. Taylor, Sinclair Scorpions by P.P. Corcoran. So it's really kind of been a neat way to broaden the universe, but it's also brought in a lot of folks, and the readers have loved the way that we tie it all in together, from the anthologies to the what looks like is going to be a novel that is a standalone thing, and then all of a sudden it's tied in, and so it's been different than almost any series I ever heard or know of, but it's really worked out well. And right now, Assassin is out for early readers, and everyone that's read it has said, wow, it's so cool the way you did this and tied it in with that, and and there's lots more of that coming. So we're pretty happy with it, pretty excited about the fan response.
So I know that other people have had these larger expanded universes, but I didn't learn about them until after I'd learned about what you were doing in the Four Horsemen universe. I know there's folks like Michael Anderle that have been bringing other authors in to write in his stuff for quite a while, but that's not something that I'd been reading. How do you manage something? It sounds very daunting to go ahead and have so many people coming in to write entire novels inside the sandbox that you've created.
It is daunting. It has taken a lot of effort on both Mark and my part, but also on the authors that are doing it too. They've been great. They've been really flexible. And hey, I want to do a story kind of like this. Is there a place that this would fit? Or hey, what do you need from me? What would you like to see? What do you need explored? How can I make something fit into the universe? So it's been a great partnership with all of the authors. By having me as the publisher, I keep the canon straight. so that, we don't have antimatter except only when we're trolling Mark, and things like that. And we've had, authors from all across the globe writing in it. We got someone from Australia, we got folks from the UK, we got Canada, we got the US. So it's a diverse group of folks, but everybody's been great, and has been true professionals about working in the universe, and not going, well, I want to do this, and if I don't get to do it, then I'm going home. Okay, everyone's been great, and having a single point me has been helpful. So helpful that I think we're going to have 18 books in the Four Horsemen universe this year. Wow. And it was to the point where I just couldn't keep up with it anymore. So I had to quit my day job to keep up with it, to answer your question.
That's just terrible. That's
awful.
Yeah,
it's an awful thing. It's just awful.
I feel so bad for you. So bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a good job. It was a government service job. I love the folks. Great commanding officer, working for the Navy. It wasn't that I wanted to give up the job, but certainly going to be a full-time author and publisher doesn't suck so much either.
No.
So when you've got somebody else writing in your universe, we'll pick one of the short stories that I wrote for an example. I introduced a race in that, and by all means, if that race is something that strikes your fancy to use elsewhere, do so. But how do you, is there something you have to do contractually to be able to use what other people write as part of the canon? How does that even work? Because copyright is very complicated.
Yeah, well, we've kept the copyright on the universe, so the things that have come in have gone into the universe Bible. A couple of the different new races have been used by other people, and we try and go, hey, we're going to use them for this, and is that okay? Yeah, cool. And there really hasn't been any issue with everyone sharing, because they know it's the big sandbox, and Mark and I own the rights to the sandbox. And when you come and play, you got to be willing to share the bucket. I
guess the reason I'm asking that is it's after seeing what you guys are doing, I'm like, I should invite somebody to write in my Empire of Bones universe. So I'm sitting here half thinking that, and then I'm thinking of all the roadblocks that could pile up in my way of trying to do that. I know all about being busy. I look at my writing schedule and I go, I'm insane. What the hell am I doing?
I posted my publishing schedule the other day, and I went, so what you're telling me is I'm launching a book every week this year from January through May, with the exception of one weekend. Holy crap. Am I an idiot? What was I thinking?
It's crazy stuff, but it's going to take off. It's one of those weird things of the more things that you can add to your universe, the more books that come out, whether you've written them or somebody else has written them, it brings in readers who are then going to go read other things that are in the universe. And it's one of those things that grows the whole sandbox.
Yeah. And I think that was one of the best parts of the anthologies was, it got it out to, some of the different authors' followings. It really, I think, worked both ways. It was great for bringing in new readers to the universe, but it was also great for exposing some of our folks to some other authors. And I've had a lot of people that, have contacted me and said, hey, thanks for including, I don't know, pick a name, Terry Mixon in the books. I've really enjoyed it, and I've gone on to read his Empire Bones stuff. So I know that people have come in as well as gone out, and it's kind of been a great marketplace for finding new great authors. So I think, I hope that the authors that have been involved in the anthologies have gotten as much as they've given. Certainly, the anthologies have done pretty well, so they at least ended up financially okay for their efforts. But I think it's gone on more than that, to where we've been able to broaden a lot of the readership's eyes to what a great group of authors there are, in the indie market.
That's one of the benefits of an anthology is it doesn't require a huge time commitment to sample the work of other people and
Right.
still get something that's self-contained.
Right. And there's been just some great stories in the anthologies. I've had, a couple of them have gone on to be evaluated for year's best kind of things. I haven't heard where we fared in those yet, but I'm hoping that we'll bring home at least some finalists or some honorable mentions or something to get some folks noticed.
And that's through somebody at Bain. I noticed that your forwards were from folks like David Drake, David Weber, and Charles Gannon. And
yeah,
those are Bain guys, aren't
doing
they?
Okay.
They're doing all right.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What was the question? I was too busy talking over you.
There was no question in that, but it's interesting that I don't know. Did you write for Bain? How did you meet these people?
Cons, of course,
there you go.
in the bar. Actually,
it's all about the bar. It's apparently
all about the bar.
maybe more Barfly Central in the case of the Bain authors, but going to cons and. When I first started out, it was, listening more than talking and just trying to meet folks and, establish relationships because that's, really what it's about. You can't generally call up somebody that you don't know or send them a private message and go, hey, we're doing this thing. And how'd you like to write a forward for it? I knew Chuck. I knew David Weber. I didn't know David Drake as well. I'd met him a couple times, but one of the authors that was in it, in the third anthology, knew him really, really well. And I asked him. I said, "Hey, do you suppose he would do that?" And he happened to be at a con. He happened to be at Liberty Con last year, and Mark happened to be sitting next to him at the autograph table one day, and I walked up and Mark and I explained the Four Horsemen, and the other author he knew happened to be there. So I don't want to say that we kind of dogpiled him, but we kind of had several people there that said, "Wow, it's a really neat thing," and he relented and said he'd take a look at it, and he did, and provided a forward, which was just super, super cool of him. Can't say enough good things about him. And the same thing, David Weber and Chuck Gannon. I mean, both super dudes. Just I can't say enough good things about both of them. Both great writers as well as great human beings.
Absolutely. Jump in here, Paul. You've been quiet. Say something.
I've been quiet. When have I ever been quiet?
Today.
The only thing you've talked about is bar. Yeah, bar.
I'm just saying. I know I've been to a lot more cons than Terry has. So
true.
Okay.
A lot more cons. I did have a question for you. Actually, was I wrote this down a long time ago, Terry. Aren't you impressed?
Yes, I am.
5 minutes ago?
More like longer than that. What do you think since you basically went the indie route and have built your publishing empire, so to speak? What do you think has set your publishing part? The way you publish, the way you do the books, everything else. What do you think sets your, Chris Kennedy imprints apart from, say, what's going on with the majors or other indie presses in the same?
What sets me apart? Well, I know that certainly a focus on quality is what helps make my books, do well. And I'm not saying that other ones, do or don't. But certainly I try and make the books as absolutely error free as possible, and I'm sure you're aware it's darn hard to get every single error out, but we do everything possible to put out a quality product. Certainly the Four Horsemen books have great eye-catching art that are pretty well branded. If you see a Mech on one, you can probably guess when you see the next one that it's part of that series. So we work hard on both the marketing and the quality control to provide a good experience for the reader. We definitely stay away from message fiction, and just try and keep the books enjoyable, where you can read the book, go to another world, and lose yourself for as long as you want. And I've had folks say, I hate you. Well, oh, I'm sorry. Why do you hate me? Well, you made me stay up late last night because I couldn't put the book down. Now I'm tired at work.
Music to our ears.
Yeah. Hashtag sorry, not sorry.
Exactly.
Hashtag shut up and give me your money.
I don't know that I'd say that, but I would say I'm providing a great, experience for it.
Here's some crack, kid. Want some more?
First taste is free.
Yeah.
Hey, come try the short story on my website. It's free.
Yeah. And then it all goes downhill from there. Same thing with audiobooks.
Yeah.
So how are you managing both writing and actually managing the publishing monster? Because that's
what I was sitting here wondering. How do you find time to write?
I mean, you've got to be reading God only knows how many books a year for the publish, and I assume you go back and make developmental edits occasionally or whatever else.
Yeah. I don't sleep enough, which is why I'm getting out of my day job. My wife's like, yeah, you can't do both anymore. You just can't. A lot of it's because of my military experience. I was in the Navy 20 years. I'm great at rationing my time and planning and staying to a schedule. I can set aside this period for writing, and I'll go and I'll write at that period and edit then in the next period, whatever it takes. But I'm good at making a plan and then sticking to it. I get up in the morning at a decent time, even on the weekends, and put a lot of work into it. The writing happened to start. I'd been a softball coach for my daughters I'd done 20 seasons, spring and fall, for 10 years. And they got to an age where they didn't want to play anymore, right about the time that the writing started. And that kind of filled that spot. So there was some pre-made time there that I used. And then it's just kind of grown, as they've gone off to college. I've got 3 kids in college. So if I wasn't writing, I'd be doing something. My day paycheck already goes to George Mason, but so I'd say, planning, sticking to the plan, and working my butt off.
You would have to if you're going to be publishing that many books in this short amount of time frame.
Just basically if I don't exceed a book a week, which is pretty much what I have targeted right now. I generally release on Fridays. I can do the edits, the final read. I've got editors that do the initial edits and take care of that. But I do the final read before anything goes out the door. And I can do a book a week in the afternoons. I can do writing in the morning. And then, business stuff at night or during the day if I need to, because there's a whole lot of things that go into producing a book beyond just, taking a manuscript and going, okay, yeah, it's edited, there it goes. Getting good art, getting the covers done, getting books formatted. I'm probably going to have to start contracting some of that out too, because just not enough time, not enough hours in the day.
I know that as things are coming in, you're updating your universe Bible with that. Do you keep a more detailed story Bible? I know that I myself did not keep one when I should have been keeping one. So I've actually got someone going behind me and building a story Bible, because I've gotten to the point now where I've forgotten entire planets that I should be remembering.
Yeah, about that.
Stop losing ships, Terry. Stop losing ships. It's very, very bad. It confuses the hell out of the readers.
Well, I had somebody tell me recently that I killed the same person twice in my earlier series.
If it was J.R. Handley, he doesn't mind.
Yeah, well, yeah. No one else noticed, I don't think, but she did. So we have somebody that's working on a wiki right now that's doing all the universe stuff and is getting the story in there as well. So we should have been doing more with that, but it's catching up. My own personal series, I'm going to have to do a lot of rereading and going back because I didn't do it, because I was going along and I knew it, and now there's been a gap of a year, and I'm like, oh dear God, how did that go again? Wait,
I'm
wait, I can use antimatter in my books. I know that. Yay!
I'm having to reread the previous novel in one of my secondary series because I'm about to start the 4th novel in it, and I realized I have no idea what these people were doing.
Yeah, I have a fantasy trilogy that I started. I wrote the first book and then got distracted by other things. And people have been asking, hey, when are you going to write the other 2 books? We want to know. And I'm like, what happened in that? Let's see, it was a fantasy, so there was magic. There must have been a dragon, so I'm going to have to do a lot of rereading on that one. But, oh well. I'll have to quit my day job.
Oh,
how many books of your own are you hoping to get this year?
Well, I don't actually quit the day job. My last day is March 31st. How many books am I going to write? How do you count half a book? If Mark and I are co-writing one, do you count it as half?
I do. I actually co-write with Glenn Stewart, and so right. I do count it as half a book.
Okay, so I'll probably do 4 halves with him. Another half with Tom Mays. So 4 halves. That must be 2, 3, 4. Between 7 and 8. It would be that's 8 if I hadn't quit.
Shoot, that's an ambitious schedule, even just for your writing, not even counting your publishing.
Well, if you write 3,000 words every morning, at the end of the month, you got 90,000. Slop over a week, and you got 100,000, and that's typically what I shoot for a novel. So I can get out a novel's worth in about a month. And slot that into the schedule, and then use send that out to the editors, and when it comes back, put it into the slot and do the final edit on it before it goes out the door.
I obviously need to be more dedicated. When I started writing in 2014, I think I published 2 or 3 books that year. And the next year I became full-time because my job laid me off. And I've edged up to where I think I did 5 books last year, 6 books maybe, when you include the stuff that I wrote with Glenn as well. Mm-hmm. But I'm still not anywhere where I want to be. I keep going, I could do more. And then I don't force myself to make it happen. I haven't regimented myself enough to have segregated butt in chair time to make it happen.
Well,
that's this year.
I was doing 4 of my own before I started doing this crazy horseman thing. And I know I can do 4 of my own with a day job. Ought to be able to do, at least 6, if not 7 or 8, without it. And, the only thing that's going to be the drawback is I lose the first quarter. But the last 9 months of this year, you ought to see a whole pile from me.
That would be awesome. With as many people writing as many things in the 4 Horsemen universe as it is, you've already got a very ambitious schedule for just this year. What do you see it being like in 2 years or 3 years, or goodness only knows? It seems like there's going to be too much for you to keep it all in your head at that point.
I don't know. It kind of depends on reader demand. If we don't want to outgrow reader demand and put out so much that reader just goes, geez, I can't keep up with it. I'm going to do something else. So I don't know. It will depend. It'll depend on how much authors want to continue doing it. Certainly, we have plans to continue it at about the rate that we have right now. So I could easily do it. 18 books a year. Steady state pretty easily. I think. I know how to do it now. I know how to sequence them in. I know how to do the coordination. I don't know that I want to do more than that. But if there's a market for it, and other authors are interested in going, because the universe is big. We could do a lot of different things with it. If people want to read it and people want to write it, absolutely, we'll continue to make more.
Well, actually, that wasn't the question I had. I was intending to ask, but it's a great answer anyway. My question was, how do you keep the
how do I keep it all in my head?
All in your head when there's so many things going on.
The wiki, writing it down, having a good support staff. I don't know. We're gonna have to. We'll have to.
It seems like
we'll have to grow some of that too. To make that happen, because as we start branching out, because the readers want more of the alpha contracts. The book, The Alpha Contracts, came out. Showing the first contracts that humans took. And now people are like, hey, those guys are all kind of cool. We want to read more about them. So that's the technology there is incredibly different from what we're using now in the main storyline. So having to jump back and forth between that is one of those things where you need a good novel Bible, not just the universe Bible. So it'll be a challenge. But I'm up to it.
I'm sure that you are. I know that I've got 15 published books now. Even trying to keep those in my head is impossible without something to go reference back to. So in 2 or 3 years, I will bow low before you if you can keep all the details straight in your head.
The ones that I'm working on, I'm sure I'll know well. The ones that I haven't seen in a while, I won't. And we'll have to depend on the wiki and to try and keep those pure, or work out something else. I mean, you're absolutely right. That's going to be a huge challenge to keep those all correct. It gets harder when you start throwing in anthologies, because then you're multiplying your stories by 12 or 14 or 16. And Mark the other day said, well, hey, I want to do this thing. And I said, yeah, that's already been done. He's like, when? Well, it was an anthology. I think it was the second, toward the front of the book, so I found it. I went and flipped through the index. Okay. Yeah, there it is. But that when you start throwing in the short stories that go all over the place, then it really gets challenging to keep up with everything.
Why am I suddenly getting a vision of undersea mechs with monsters?
Why didn't you write that story? Why didn't you write that story?
Because I didn't have time.
I invited you. I invited Paul to be in the third anthology.
And I appreciated the invite very much. And I'm very glad I did not take you up on your offer, because things did not go well for me in 2017 in a lot of areas. So,
I hear there's going to be another anthology
coming
in
2018.
I hear there's another anthology coming out, Paul. Maybe you should ask him about that.
It might very well happen. For some reason, I just got this idea of undersea mechs and sea monsters and went.
Well, one of the stories and the places that have come out in the main line is a bar called the Lion's Den. It's LYON''S. It's actually a red shirt, Joel Lyons. And he is a restaurateur by trade, and he said, I'd have always wanted to have this place called the Lion's Den. Could you redshirt my bar?
There
I'm like,
you go.
what? Are you
That's
kidding
awesome.
me? Red shirt. Okay, sure. I'm game for about anything. So we put that in. So things happen in the Lion's Den, and that's what the next anthology is going to be, is Tales from the Lion's Den.
Oh no.
So we're going to try and have somewhat of a theme, but it's basically telling lies, and so there you go. There's your sea monsters.
Oh God, I can have way too much fun with this.
I can see you going, oh, he's going to regret that. Yes, he is.
It's like he's obviously not read the Black. He has no idea what I'm capable of. Terry's like, oh God.
Well,
are you going to have the rover? That's what I want to know. Is there going to be a rover in there?
You mean an ROV or
That's
an
right.
AUV?
That's right.
Oh, there'd have to be. Oh, there'd have to be. There'd have to be.
That's an inside baseball comment.
All right, I'm afraid.
You should be. One of the favorite characters from the Black from everybody was the autonomous underwater vehicle.
Okay.
AUV-5.
It wasn't even sentient. It was just a point of view.
It was just point of view. And it had an AUV-5 was special. Anyway, lots of hardware problems, whole 9 yards. So it was a good character. But it did not have a personality. It never said anything. You never really got any thoughts from it.
And everyone wants to know more.
And everybody wanted to know more because of the way I used it. So it was just a lot of fun. So I mean, there's just so many little things that you can add to any of these universes. Just amazing.
Paul.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You could go ahead and write a story for one of their anthologies where the point of view isn't the mech pilot, it's the mech itself. All right, that's a bad idea.
Probably a bad idea. Probably. I still have not. The one thing I have not done yet is okay, that's not even true. I haven't written in. I was about to say I've never written from the monster's point of view, and now I'm going back and going, look, you dumbass, you wrote all these serial killer stories. I would love to write.
I'm pretty sure I don't want to get into a game of I Never with you.
I want to do something like John Barth's Grendel, where he tells the story from Grendel's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So I
had Grendel in one of my books in my own story. I crap you negative. I did.
Oh,
told the Beowulf story, how it really happened.
How it really happened? Yeah.
Yep.
I want to do one of those.
It was aliens.
Yeah, I want to do one of those, but through the eyes of the alien or the monster or whatever else that's lurking beneath.
Uh-huh.
Kind of fun.
Awesome.
It'd be kind of fun. Another book idea. God damn it.
Shit.
Yeah, my book idea book is pretty thick. I need to start working off some of those.
Yeah, I'm already booked through 2019. Probably through 2020 at this point.
I keep making a schedule. I make a schedule of what I want to do for the year. And then a month later, I'm like, yeah, cut that, rearrange this. Yeah. I spend more time saying, yeah, I might as well just write the next book and not even worry about what's coming after that because it's going to change.
Well, I thought I knew exactly what I was going to do. And then Tom Mays, I had started a book with him 2 years ago, and I had finished my part of it last January. And then life hit him. He had, a variety of different things happen. He also became the XO and CO of a military unit, and just lost all his time and this and that. And all of a sudden, a week and a half ago, the book showed up done. I'm like, what? I'm not, this isn't in my schedule. Yeah. Hey, let's write more on that. This ought to be at least a trilogy, maybe more. Oh, dear God. So now I got to slide that in somewhere too. So
a bunch of your author friends need to get together, and we need to go ahead and write a completely off the books 4 Horsemen story that you actually never had any input into, and just have it show up in your inbox one day and you go, where did this come from?
I don't remember there being a contract for this. What the hell is this?
All right, go ahead.
Oh man.
Just keep it within canon. That's all I ask.
And why are there Muppets in the canon now? When did that happen?
You just want to make Mark flip another desk, don't you?
Sometimes.
I get the feeling that there's this love-loathe relationship going on here, similar to the one Terry and I have.
Yeah, I wouldn't say loathe. I would say we like trolling each other.
That was the loathe part.
Yeah.
Love and loathing.
Yeah. You know, I really enjoy working with Mark. He's a great partner. He's awfully fun to get spun up.
It looks like it. I've sampled that wear a little bit myself, and it does seem pretty fun.
And the fact that he wrote one of his characters as a brony, you know, with all the little My Little Pony stuff, is also amazingly fun to use. Apparently, he has a fan now that sends him brony stuff.
Just shows up in the mail, no idea who.
Just shows up in the mail, no idea
This is
who.
your opportunity to deny.
Deny.
Who was it?
Deny it was
It
you.
is not me.
We have your
promise you-
Amazon history, sir. I'm looking at it right now, and I see lots of My Little Pony crap on here. A lot of My Little Pony crap.
There is no My Little Pony crap here. I do not do that. And I am not the one.
You're not the one that did it?
I am not. I promise you, I am not the one. I am laughing my butt off every time he gets something.
Does he make the mistake of taking pictures of it and posting it?
No, his wife does.
Oh, is that who does?
Even better. Even better.
Well, he got the last one he got in the mail. He was sitting there opening at the table and, you know, being careful in case white powder came spilling out of it. And, you know, his wife is filming him over his shoulder and he doesn't even know it.
That's awesome. So looking at the wide expanse of the Four Horsemen universe, do you even try to keep a future path in mind as you're going along in doing this?
Oh, yeah.
How do you herd the cats into I guess let me rephrase the question. Do you have a certain major set of goals that you're actually trying to get to? And does that incorporate things that other people are writing as well?
Yes. When I said that we had planned out like the 16 books, that was the main storyline. All of these other things,
Spin-offs and tertiary stories.
Yeah, that's all ancillary. You know, we have at least at least 10 more in the main storyline that we've gamed out. And we're following, you know, along with where we wanted to go with this. Adding all of these authors has made it a little more complex, but it's allowing us to bring to the light some of the things that would have just been, oh yeah, off camera, this happened. Now readers get to find out, you know, how it really happened. You know, okay, we need to do this thing, and somebody now goes and does that thing. We wouldn't have been able to put all that into the books without making the series go, you know, longer than we wanted, because there are other places we want to go and things we want to do. But now we have the ability to do that through some of the other authors that are writing in the universe. You know, Kevin Eikenberry's doing great things with the Peacemaker stuff. Marisa and Casey are doing great things with the Assassins. You know, Paul Corcoran and Tim C. Taylor have their own piece that people will see here very soon, as a matter of fact. So lots of good stuff coming, stuff that we didn't even originally game plan for, but now is working out really, really well and is all dovetailing right into the main storyline.
Has anything that someone else has done actually altered the course of the main storyline?
It has altered how we approached some things. It has given us, you know, the opportunity to expand on some things. You know, both the Peacemaker and the Assassin we changed the main storyline a little. The ultimate goal is still the same, and we're still headed for the same thing. But how we're going to get there has changed a little bit. But it's a good thing. It makes it cooler. It makes it where we go.
Well, I think being excited about where things are going is a necessary aspect to doing this. If you don't love what you're doing, then there's something wrong.
Absolutely, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. If you're not having fun, it shows in the writing. I mean, if you're just doing it because you have to, it's not as much fun to read as if I'm sitting there going.
I completely agree with that. I often cackle when I think, which of my fiendlings am I going to kill today?
Exactly.
So I have a whole mess of them on my website. I'm still trying to kill off.
Yeah, I've got a bunch too, and they're all gonna die here soon. I in my earlier books, I was wiping out about 25 per.
Oh my god! I haven't even gone that far.
Well, they wanted to die. I couldn't help it.
I have to kill them off like 2 or 3 at a time. Actually 2 to 7 per book.
It's because you take your time and you don't just kill them. You flay them and do other things that are so time consuming.
No, the hardest part of writing any book is figuring out where I'm going to put Thomas Reed. That's the most difficult part of writing any book.
He has one character that shows up in every book, but he's already dead. It's just a toe tag. It's a guy with a toe tag.
All righty.
Toe tag treed. Oh yeah.
Go
Long
figure.
history.
Gotta have your thing. I mean, it's what makes it fun.
Oh yeah. When we put stuff like that in there, the readers are always laughing and sending you nasty grams when they're like, "Oh, I found the corpse. I found the toe tag." So yeah, it's always good when you put that stuff in there. That's always fun.
Paul, do you have anything more? You got some more questions before we bring this conversation to a close?
No, I just find it interesting. I guess I do have one thing. What do you think the attraction is to mechs?
It's the great equalizer. I mean, no matter whether you're strong, weak, big, short, whatever, you climb into a mech and you can be as powerful as you want. You can take on the universe in a mech. You can load it up with anti-air, anti-tank, anti-personnel. You can put it, no matter how you want to kill things, you can kill them with a mech. It's a great equalizer. It's a lot of fun. Strap on a laser, strap on a railgun, strap on whatever you want and go kill stuff. With our mechs, they have some rocket assist in the boots. So, you don't get to fly, but the old Toy Story, it's falling with style, or however that went, so yeah, you get to do lots of things. They can be used in any environment. Strap one on and do whatever you want. Not sure that sounds very good. But,
I wasn't going to say phrasing.
We weren't going to go into the full range of attachments that these mechs had.
And there I go, foot in mouth.
I was just listening.
There's another anthology story that'll never see the light of day.
Oh my God. All right, the 4 Horsemen erotica. There we go.
Can 2 people fit in the suit?
Can 2 suits make a little bitty suit?
Oh, Terry, sometimes you send my brain to a very scary place.
With sound effects.
Mr. Mixon, please stop now while we're behind.
Yeah, it's too late for that. Too late for us. Well, Chris, thank you so much for coming on the show and rambling on about everything that you're up to. We really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's been great being here.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
People can find me at chriskennedypublishing.com. If you look at the imprints page there, you can see all of the books that are coming out, all the books that are out. see all of the Four Horsemen, find out more about, the authors that are writing novels in the universe, join the mailing list and be an early reader. Get it for free early.
There you go. Folks, if you have any comments for us, go ahead and send us an email at show@deadrobotsociety.com. You can find Paul on Twitter at Paul_E_Cooley. The best place you can find us is on Facebook at the Listeners of the Dead Robot Society Facebook group. We, of course, have to mention the fact that this video is going to be on YouTube/DRS podcast. Our Patreon folks support us at patreon.com/DRS podcast. And of course, we have to thank the good folks at podhoster.com who host the audio for almost 500 episodes of this show over the last 10 years. So we really appreciate it, isn't it, though? It's very frightening. Folks, we really appreciate you tuning in, and we hope that you've picked up something. You should rush right out and get something in the Four Horsemen universe because you will not be disappointed.
Awesome.
And we also have to read off our list of $10 and above patrons.
Knock yourself out, sir. Let's see what weird quotable names they've stuck in the middle of their Patreon names.
They've been lazy this week. So $10 patrons this week are Robert Slade, Devin Lee, Caleb James. Nathan Petty is now no name. Okay, then. Drew Dead X Red Shirt Delivery Bernardi.
I see.
John Kilgallen, Chris Winder, Isabel, My Life is Editing Now Cushy, Andre Conde Moraes, DJ Chamberlain, Jonathan Zarusin, and some guy named JR something or other.
I'll bet he's Handy. Or is it Handley?
It says Handley. That can't be right. JR Handley? Who's that?
Sounds like a dead guy.
When a space toilet fell on his head.
He was in a brothel when that happened, wasn't he?
Yeah. Before closing the deal.
Is that where the story about the donkey came in? Because I'm just wondering.
No, that's a different episode.
Oh, okay. All right. Just checking. Thank you, patrons.
Thank you, patrons. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.